is the book of Second Ezra chapter 5. Getting at verse I'll start at verse 1, and it reads, Nevertheless as coming the tokens, behold, the day shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. But iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. Verse 3, In a land that thou seest now to have root shalt thou see wasted suddenly. Verse 4, But if the Most High grant thee to live, thou shalt see after the third trumpet, the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. And blood shall drop out of wood, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled. And even he shall rule whom they look not for that dwell upon the earth, and the fowl shall take their flight away together. Verse 7, And the Sodomite sea shall cast out fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. Verse 8, There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and mistress women shall bring forth monsters. And salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. Verse 10, the point. And shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon the earth. I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Elohim La Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem HaKadosh B'Katham. I want to say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. I want to say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so now more so than ever. Say shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's your brother Yahweh Sab out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai. This lesson is in regards to this article that I came across on my Newsbreak app. Now, I brought out Second Ezra chapter 5 because when you read that chapter, the verses I went over, it says, nevertheless, it's concerning the tokens. We know the tokens is concerning the prophecies, because the scriptures is a book of prophecy. It's laws, statutes, and commandments, heritage, history, but it's also a book of prophecies. That's why in Isaiah chapter 34 it talks about a book without, it has no mate, pretty much. It's no book that lines up, basically giving prophecy like the scriptures, Then it says, but iniquity, which we know iniquity is sin upon sin, or lawlessness, shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. And if you follow in the news, you see what's all going on in the news, Seem like it's always something going on. I'm pretty sure they're not even reporting all the news or everything that's going on. They probably can't keep up with it. I remember when I worked at a Subway years ago, maybe 15, 16 years ago. It was I worked in a building where my dad stayed at. I worked in the building, and inside this building, it was an apartment building, but it was like, I ain't gonna say a storefront. It had a grocery store. It had a lot of different things, and the news station was located inside this building as well. And I remember a guy that worked there, his brother had came up missing, and pretty much by him talking to one of the news reporters that was that would come in there, because a few people would come in there and buy sandwiches here and there. A few people pretty much by him mentioning to the news reporter, that's what made her basically go solve it. There's a lot of unsolved mysteries, that go. Now, it was the Lord's will that individual found out and got closure about his brother. Certain people don't find out, family members or what happened to people that they, their relatives or care about. It's all the will of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. So, with that being said, things were already, there's a lot of lawlessness already going on, but how much more so in these coming last days? Because the closer we get to the end, the more and more, these people are going to get reckless. I was listening to the elder Mawatazak from Ancient of Days, and the elder was going into pretty much how this place is a powder keg waiting to explode, because you got these migrants and these foreign troops and all these different people, and then you got these red or blue-blooded Americans that ain't gonna accept a migrant or a foreigner telling them anything, and they ready to bleed over this, I'm an American. So yeah, this gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of bloodshed, and it's spiritual, because when you go into what's that, Numbers chapter 33, the land cannot be cleansed of the blood shed except for by the blood of those that shed it, roughly paraphrased. So this land was taken by the rape, robbery, and murder of a lot of Israelites. Tribes of Gad, the tribes of Reuben, Bond, and based on that, it's going to be a lot of bloodshed, because that's the recompense. Verse 3, and the land that thou seest now to have roots shall thou see wasted suddenly. We saying this place is on the decay. This place is over. We always say or it's over, but you can clearly see it if the Lord giving you the eyes to see. Skipping down, it says, verse 8, there shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places. Now, we've seen within the last couple of years all these food processing plants burn down. And then, typically you always seeing deer, in urban settings. I'm starting to see coyotes, I have for the last couple of years. Shit, even longer than that. I mean, I remember seeing a coyote when I was homeless. I haven't been homeless for a good 8 years. No, Salakia, 6 years. So, yeah. It says, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and minstrous women shall bring forth monsters. And that's going into, these deformed babies. But like the elder apostle Tahar said, not Salakia, the elder apostle Racha said, you could also equate that to these Similac babies, these, slow-witted, GMO-fed babies that don't think straight, don't think right. That's fucked up in the mind, The point was, verse 9, it says, and the salt water shall be found in sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Because we're coming into a time where people going to be out of desperation. It's going to be dog eat dog. It's going to be, survival of the fittest. Only the strong survive mentality. It says, and which shall hide itself, which is this truth, and understanding withdraw itself into the secret chamber, and shall be sought of many. Makes me think of Amos chapter 8 verse 11. A famine of not of bread, but of this truth. And shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon the earth. Incontinency is basically lawlessness. Lawlessness or lack of self-restraint. Iniquity. So, and we're seeing that. So this article caught my attention because of the fact, it went into and children do stupid things, but at the same time, it's the Lord putting the spirit on children and adults to do these different things. Everything first and foremost is of Yahweh Shemam Shah. So it says California teen 15 allegedly tried to carjack police cruiser as mob swarmed deputy trash vehicle and street takeover. You know, and they've had certain situations similar happen in like Chicago and whatnot, but you're going to hear about these things happening and ramping up more and more because, you know, again, there's a lot of people struggling, a lot of people, you know, not doing well. And, you know, ultimately it's going to be, you know, when people don't have, they take, you know, people ain't going to be pretty much worrying about the authorities or people in positions of power when their family or their household is fucked up. So it reads, a California teenager allegedly tried to carjack a sheriff's deputy as a mob trashed the cruiser during an illegal street takeover earlier this month. The delinquent 15 was among the 3 people arrested for the role in damaging a San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy vehicle in Highland, California on May 11th. I wonder if I could play this. Nope. It says, shocking footage captured the large crowd kicking and jumping on top of the vehicle, which had already blared its lights to deter the vandals. You know, and that's going to also end up a lot of police officers going to walk away from it. I mean, you've had a lot already lead a force, which was all systematically done and designed. But, you know, you think it's happenstance that people, you know, that these police forces are short-staffed, and then now you got all these migrants and all this crime. But it tells you, it's the book of 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1, and it reads, this note also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And you go to that word perilous, it's kalapas. Now when you read in the NLT, it says you should know this, Timothy, that in the last days there will be very difficult times. But that word perilous goes into kalapas, meaning dangerous, fierce, savage, harsh, hard to bear, troublesome, hard to approach, hard to do, hard to take. So it's gonna be hard to live, hard to bear the times that we're gonna be living in. You know, scriptures talk about the days being evil. You go into that word evil, it's a compound word. Eve meaning time, ill meaning bad. Bad times are approaching. Shit, you got people going through bad times now. Kalipas, perhaps through the idea of reducing the strength, difficult, dangerous, or by implication, furious, fierce, perilous, hard to do, to take, to approach. So, you know, the closer we get to the end, and the more things difficulty, the more difficult everything gets. Because I was just listening to somebody go into that. I think it was there's the elder Amawan Gabar. He was saying the fire rises because the closer we get to the end, the harder you know the fire is gonna rise on us as well. You know, not just 2/3 Jake, not just these heathens, but you know, not just the Babylonians. You know what I mean? But everybody. You know, you got to remember. But the fire is supposed to purify the elect. It's not supposed to destroy you. Back into the article, it says, a male juvenile kicked and punched the patrol unit with other unidentified subjects. Highland police said the patrol unit's windshield was completely broken along with other reported damages caused by the juvenile. So basically, they only got that juvenile. When he realized what was going on, he activated the overhead lights in an effort to try and scare the crowd, get them to go away. However, that backfired. You know, so when I saw the video, I immediately put myself in the deputy's shoes, and I wonder how he was going to get out of it. San Bernardino Sheriff's Public Information Officer Gloria Ureta said, according to KABC, the street takeover saw the intersection flood when one of the individuals opened up a fire hydrant to flood the road, making it easier for the drivers to drift. So pretty much, and you know, it's funny because this was going on. They were saying promoting this, or you know, out of all the shit going on, they were saying this pretty much something similar as far as, you know, cars racing in our downtown Cleveland. Now, mind you, our county, well, our city jail, our county jail, you know, Cuyahoga County Jail is right downtown, and Public Square is like 10 blocks away from it, and not one car or police car was called to stop that. It's like they're allowing it, on purpose. Lawlessness, and it's all scriptural, but eventually because eventually you got niggas, a nigga will be content with, getting high and doing some silly shit like that to pass the time. But when a motherfucker's belly start grumbling, or when you can't eat and get high, you know what I mean? All that old, foolishness, that folly gonna go out the window. So they worried about just, the street takeovers. Just imagine when they really start raising up hell out here, you know what I mean? Scriptures talk about in the last days, perilous times, but it also tells you, like, right before the end, in Noah's day, it was a lot of violence on the earth. This is the book of um, Genesis chapter 6, and I'm going to start at verse 5, and it reads, "And the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." And with this red Hebrew Edomite, the so-called white man in rulership, you can see that same sentiment, that mindset. Like, this devil talking about swapping out heads. He talking about having the technology to allow a man to have a baby. I was gonna do a video on it. It was an individual. It had to be an Edomite. I mean, I didn't go checking through it, Spirit Switch, but it's a dude. He spent like $14,000 to create a suit, or get a suit custom made, where he became a collie. And the reason why he don't want to do it no more is because he tried to do the little dog. When the dogs go to the dog show, and they, like a equestrian, they jump over those little, those hurdles, and they do the little tricks. Well, he couldn't keep up with the dogs, so now he want to go back to being. This place is really fucked up. You know what I mean? Because that's showing you how this man really is the devil. Because he allowed, a righteous kingdom would have some order, and certain things wouldn't be allowed. This devil will let you do just pretty much anything. You know what I mean? Like, all in wickedness too. And it repented the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai said, "I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them." But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai. And that's pretty much what we're going into now. We're coming into the second death. It's pretty much, when you take time to think about it, well, it makes a lot of sense. We ain't the most advanced, civil, civilization. Now don't get me wrong, they do have technology that, but at the same time, you can see how everybody's so dumbed down as well. The more technology, the dumber the people are. They had technology. You got to remember, like, when you go into the damn, I can't think of the Dogon. You got nations of people that, like the Mayans. You had nations of people that were stargazers, that had information that Esau is amazed at today, back then. A lot of the natural things that the Most High created for our man's uses, the things that this devil tried to do, like, you got to remember, they still trying to figure out how were the pyramids created. And guess what? Israel had a major part with that. And I believe so much so that that's why they found pyramids over in the Americas. But skipping down to verse 11, the earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. And the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all the flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. The ark, I don't know why that's right there. It's probably misworded. Salakia. And the Most High said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So the point being, like I said again, that's just people breaking rules and laws and whatnot, and you know, being caught up in folly. Scripture tells you, um, follow not a multitude to do evil, or I forgot how the one with the folly go. But the point being, like I said, right now the folly is containing these demons. You know what I mean? But eventually, like I said again, because why you got again they lax on certain shit because while their people niggas is focused on that shit, you got Esau setting the groundwork for all this other shit. He done brought a secret army in here. He could use that in so many different ways from Biden supporters to like they say the blue hats to what I mean, like it's so many avenues to pretty much like they was talking about in Chicago where you had 700,000 inner city Jakes, and pretty much they brought in 700,000 migrants. Now they all Jakes, but shit, some of them UN troops Jakes. You know what I mean? And, it's deep too because I was listening to Redacted, and I knew this, but a lot of people didn't know this. But when you go into, it was talking about the last, damn, I can't think of the guy name with the Jake, and pretty much how they destroyed his homeland and took him and made him into like a soldier for the empire, and that's how the UN is, you know what I mean, you know. United Nations, just like Star Trek and all that, you know what I mean? Like these things are thrown in your face for a reason, Then you go into, Gene Roddenberry and finding out he was a 33rd degree, and as a spirit, his brother was going in on the head of IUIC and the certain gestures and hand symbols he used, and so you know what I mean. Like I was told years ago, Their symbol is a map and a compass because they rule the world. But right now again, things ain't out of that desperate yet, but they will be. It's the book of and again these spirits that's caught up in all this folly right now. Again, folly is keeping their attention, but when them bellies get empty, then them folly spirits gonna turn into spirits of vengeance. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 39 and verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. It's funny, they talk about all this gun control and this and that, but right now they talk about they got all these lax laws on guns. I mean, migrants getting guns. They passed laws for the migrants to be able to get guns. Migrants being able to drive. They purposely setting up, a bloodbath all through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh meaning he exists, by Hashem meaning in the name, Yahweh Shai meaning he saves or he is the deliverer. Who you people eagerly call God and Jesus Christ. It says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Scriptures talk about in the book of Hebrews that the Most High is the Father of spirits. So he's created the righteous spirits, the wicked spirits, the spirits created for destruction. You got individuals that their whole life was set up to just take a person out. The Lord created him as a spirit or her as a spirit of vengeance. Verse 29, fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. These are all the ways the Lord can use to send out judgment. Verse 31, they shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time has come, they shall not transgress his word. So, the Most High is the ultimate Godfather, He may have created somebody just to, take out this one particular person. I was watching this video. I was going to do a video on it, and then I forgot, and it just popped up back in my spirit. It was this girl, and her and her friend was in the bathroom and they playing with, I guess, the people's pistol. And Lord and behold, pop, it went off and ended up killing herself. And the people in the house, they, I guess, didn't know that, like, they on Instagram Live or they on something. But, you know, and, you know, pretty much that was set up through the spirit. Like all things are. You know, I know that fucked up a whole household. Because ain't nothing like losing a loved one. So again, right now you got these folly spirits out here, these niggas that's really, you know, like the elder was saying, a nigga walk around with a pistol, you know, maybe something small, maybe something bigger. You know, a lot of niggas talking about 40 cows and shit like that. Don't even probably know how to actually shoot the motherfucker, but yet still they want this big ass gun with a recoil that's like knock your fucking arm off, but you know, whatever, you know, all that's the will of the Lord too, you know what I'm saying? The Lord of how you think it, put that in your spirit to get that, and then you kill yourself with that. But anyhow, these spirits that's all into folly right now, those same spirits, especially 2/3 of Jake, they ain't gonna be, you know, not even just Jake, it's gonna be Esau first and foremost, but Jake gonna get him some. 2/3 gonna get out there, and you know what I mean? Because when shit gets so, it's gonna be so bad, they not gonna regard, you know, checkpoints and fucking lock-ins and lockdowns. They already know that. That's why they setting this shit up the way they setting it up. You know what I mean? By the time they lock this shit down, you know what I mean? Like, I'm noticing something like it's really gonna be fucked up. Because you know what I mean? Like I said, when you look at the food is like spoiling too quick, so you don't know how old that food is. So if they was to lock everything down again, yeah, motherfuckers might be ass out. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 14, and it reads, lock you. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And, you know, a lot of brethren been going into, you know, that civil war. Shit, redacted. I don't know the guy's first name. I know his last name, Morris. And talking about that Civil War. I mentioned it with the Chicago thing, you know. And they just made that movie, released that movie about Civil War. So, you know, how far-fetched can it be? You know. And that's race wars, because it said one people should stand up to fight against another. And swords in their hands, you know. But it ain't going to be just, you know, nation against nation. It's going to be, you know, like he said in that movie Civil War. He said, when the guy said, I'm American, he said, oh yeah, what kind of American are you? You know? So you're going to have Edomite against Edomite. That tell you that in the book of Isaiah chapter 19. The Egyptian versus Egyptian. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And, you know, as you can see, that young boy, that 15-year-old, was not regarding that police or his authority. He like, fuck you. And so they start damaging the vehicle. You know what I mean? How much more so when it's come down to, you know, your loved one's sick, or your loved one haven't eaten. They might take the police out. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able. That's those checkpoints. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy his house, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. What's the modern day sword? The gun. And spoil their goods. They're going to come take your shit because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. You know, and I just did a video about that, something I saw on Newsbreak, where I guess the guy had a camera in his doorbell, and I guess he was getting robbed, and you know, the robbers, they leave in the house, he following them, so I don't know if they took, or he wouldn't let it go. They end up shooting him right there, going back in the house, and then they turned the robbery into a homicide. And that's going to be the mentality of a lot of people when shit get real desperate and real. Motherfuckers ain't saying nothing yet. Like, the scriptures call the Most High God a king of terrors. It calls him a terrible power. You know, this book it says in the scriptures that this book is a book of lamentations, mournings, and woe. Go look up them words. Woe is destruction. Mourning, do you know what the meaning of mourning is? Or have you ever seen somebody truly mourning? Lamentation is weeping and to be sorrowful. The Lord about to bring this whole fucking place very low. And people going to remember the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Scripture say that the Most High will not give his glory to another. Everybody going to remember the name of the Lord and why it's to be feared. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of your power, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, or you will be destroyed. And with that, I'm going to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Loyum, La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Chakot Thumb. I'm going to say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. Say shalom to the Akim and the Aquath out there listening and learning, Lord, willingly. This is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Say shalom, shalom, and Kwam Yasharallah.